Hello YouTube. Before we get into actually assembling the headset itself, I thought we'd very quickly touch on Speedos. We've got the lighter grey retro styled one from the MY disc scooters from 2000 onwards, and we've got the EFL T5 Classic Speedo that went from sort of 1985 through to 2000. The two Speedos are interchangeable. All the connections at the Speedo head end are exactly the same. There is a difference between the two wiring connectors, but all of the wiring connections are in exactly the same position on that end as they are at this end. They connect into the loom in exactly the same way. There is some different coloured wires, but they are completely interchangeable. So if you have an early Speedo and you want to fit a late Speedo, you can. If you have a late Speedo and want to fit an early Speedo, you can. I personally would now just use the straight connector. It seems to be less harsh on the wires here, bending it round inside the headset. Obviously, if you're doing a restoration and you want it to be 100% spot on, and original as it left the factory, that goes with that Speedo and that goes with that Speedo. But I am a bit of an anorak when it comes to all the different specs and details on the different years. But I'm not a Puritan, and I would use that on anything. Right, you will need to bear with me a second now while I hobble off down the shed with my stick and go and start fetching all the bits of the headset back so we can put it together. See you in a minute. Right, I've just realised I should have demasked everything, cleaned everything, and picked which components I'm using out of the parts drawer for this build. Yeah, bear with me 1 second again. So by the magic of video editing, it's now the next day. Everything is demasked, all the threads have been cleaned, and I've gone through all my components and got all the best bits, as far as I know, out of my parts bins. So where to start? Right, I like to get the handlebar tubes in first. Ends up protecting your paint a little bit because then the bar ends will sit on the floor. One of the biggest pigs on these to do is to get the clutch switch back in. I have got a lovely snap-on socket out here that no chance, can't do it. You need a 7mm straight-sided socket with a 1/4 drive or similar, so you can get that in through the little holes here. I hope you can see that on the camera. To get that to thread in through there and snug that up, then hopefully retrieve my socket. Yay! Right, the wire for that literally just feeds through and out of the hole in there. So that's now ready to fit. The throttle side one, according to the parts diagrams, there is no washer here. I've always put one on because otherwise you've got this metal flange pressing against here, and I've seen some of these were really worn. So I always find putting a washer there, it just gives you somewhere else for it to slip rather than it being steel on alloy. Might not work, but it's always worked for me. So right, and the other thing is the lovely spring. The amount of these springs that I have launched down the garden over the years trying to refit them, you would not believe. But then somebody told me how to do it, and it's really easy. I'm going to dry build this rather than lube everything up. I do have a slight mark on the paint on this, which I'm not happy about. I can live with it if I have to. I'm not going to strip it and paint it all if that's the only bit I've got to repaint, but if I find any other bits to repaint, I will do this. So I will dry build this just for the benefits of the video. So you want to grease inside here, the journal here, and the journal there. A small smear on this, there and there. You don't need to cover the whole tube in grease. And if you're doing my trick of putting the extra washer this side, you should grease both sides of the washer and make sure everything's nice and clean, because the grit mixed, the dirt mixed with the grease just turns it into grit and it just wears everything away. I really think dirt is the enemy of a Vespa headset. Now here's me saying this spring's easy when you know how to do it, and I can't get the bugger on. It's harder doing it on camera than you think. Right, what I've always tried to do with these in the past was put all the throttle cable and the throttle stops and everything else on, and then try and fit the spring, and it don't work, and you end up launching it down the garden. But when you know how to do it, when someone's told you, it's really easy. Put the spring on with it loose, twist it round, that'll pop down there into that little hole. You then twist your throttle round to get your tension, and if you look, once your hole's at the back here, you then know where your throttle stop goes. So you've got wavy washer, flat washer, all greased, obviously, doing this dry for the video. Then you put that on there, and put your clip through, and that will hold that like that. And that's dry. Lovely. Right, now for this side. Again, let's get this clip off here. Just grab something to lever it with. Bum 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 bum. One of them. Again, we're back to the cheap and nasty B&M tools, because they work. Right, didn't think of that. Right, I'm going to have to poke that through there for a minute. Right, get these off. Right then, this one does have a washer, this end, to work as your spacer between the twist gear grip and the main headset. Again, you want to make sure that's really clean and well greased. And then, hoping I'm in camera, I'll probably need to, if I'm going to do more of these, work it somewhere setting up a monitor so I can see what the hell's in shot. So that slides through like that. Then we've got to fish the wire out. So that sits through there like so. Then this end we have wavy washer, plain washer, and your gear cog. That was a bit of an arse. Warts and all. Maybe we'll trim this bit in the edit. Or would you like to see an old broken fat bloke struggling? Right, just lob that down through there for now, so that it's out of the way, and we are on the way. That's a bit tight, but that is dry. So, whereas you can see this side works a treat, even though it's not been lubed up. When I do final assembly on this, I'm actually going to use these SIP alloy quick action throttle and gear shift. The pulley wheels are just a little bit bigger so that it's a faster action, supposedly. I have used that one on many scooters and found it really good. It's as good as a normal quick action throttle. This one I haven't tried. Holding it up against the standard plastic one, it doesn't look that much different, so I don't know if it will make any difference, but I'll give it a try. Right, what are we doing next? Okay. Right, I reckon next we go and sort these little buggers. Now, I've seen these fitted some really strange ways. I've seen them not fitted at all, and Jubilee clips and zip ties and all sorts of stuff around the frame and put in from the wrong side, so that they pull out every time you use it. But really simple when you know. The long one goes in the top hole here. Says me. It does go in there. It's just been an arse. Right, I reckon magic of video editing again here. There's another one here, which you fit from underneath in that hole there. And that one just falls in and falls out. Don't like that. I might try a different one. That one falls in and out as well. Okay. And then this one goes in this side here. Now that is really strange. What is one side really tight and one side really loose? Right, so yeah, those two go in there like that from underneath. So when you look at it from the front, if they don't fall out, they are through there like that. So your cables come up through here, through those holes there, and through slippery and out there. There we go. If you get the angle of the dangle right, it goes straight in. Right, so that's how those fit. Need to work out what I'm doing next. Right then, next going to go for fitting the electric start button. If you have an early model without an electric start button, you can just fast forward through this bit. It goes through like so. Now, unfortunately, I can only find one screw, and it's a specific screw for these. I know I've got several of them somewhere because I've got about half a dozen electric start switches, but I can't find the right coffee jar with the all the spare screws and stuff in, so it's having one for the purpose of this tutorial. But as you can clearly see, there should be two. So that's that done. Then we've got the headlamp switch, and I believe that should be a positive drive as well. I know it definitely was on the EFLs, which is what this headset is going on to. You bugger. Right. biggest plug through little holes first. There we go. No, this isn't going to work. My clever idea of showing you fitting the handlebar tubes first doesn't work. Right. Doesn't alter how you fit the handlebar, the throttle tube. That bit's exactly the same. Just matters what order you do it in, so you can poke all the wires through these holes. You'd think the amount of these I've put back together over the years, and this being a tutorial, I'd have got it right first time. But you never know. With the magic of video editing, I might get it right first time. But I don't think I'm that good at video editing yet. That all just goes through there. Make sure that wire for the starter motor is tucked up out of the way there, because I've seen a few times where the screw for to hold the indicator switch in has crushed that wire. There we go, that's got that nicely home. I need to work out how to do fast forwards through boring bits in the footage, so that there's, when you see me doing up a screw like this, it just gets done up really quick. Right, that'll do on there for now. Pull these out of the way and refit the throttle tube exactly the same as we did before. That's one good tip. You've also got to remember when you're doing it, with the hole at the top here and your cutout at the back, because that cutout is where the where the front brake cable would pass through and out this side and down. But this is a disc, so nothing goes through there, but that goes on there like so. Wipe that little bit up, slide it back down all the way through. And then when you twist it back, you poke that down there so it doesn't scratch your paint into there, and then we get the tension on it to there, back it off a little bit, and that is where the throttle wheel goes. So again, wavy washer, lubed, not dry, flat washer, throttle pulley, so that sits between those, so you know it needs to line up with that hole there, and drop the pin through. Voila, cock up fixed. Then we just need to reconnect the headlamp wiring, or the little headlamp sub loom. They get really easy, black to black and yellow and black. And those two as well, they only go together one way. That then goes to your H4 headlamp and your parking light bulb. Then we've got the indicator switch. Bit of a fiddle to get this one through here usually. Let's see if I can do it first time. There we go, sorted. Redeemed myself for cocking it up on the other side a little bit. I just thought I would put in the bit about the that throttle return spring first in the video because they are an arse. The amount of times they just get left off. But once you know, it's really easy. If anybody's missing a throttle spring and wants one, there's a whole load of them behind my shed somewhere. That's an exaggeration. There's probably 3 or 4 behind my shed where I've thrown them in annoyance. Right, we're starting to get somewhere. Now we need to look at the routing of this lot. Do we stick the headlamp in first? Yep, I'll leave it there a second, I'll put the headlamp in first. Again, this is not the headlamp I'm planning on using in the final build. I have a Moto Nostro LED headlamp to go in it, which produces about 5 times more light than the old PX headlight. That needs to run on DC, so that will be a separate video in the future. This one has had, or I tried to do an epoxy repair on it and it didn't really work, but for the benefits of the video, again, it's absolutely fine. And this should be one of the simplest jobs here today, and I can't get the sodding screw in. There we go. These screws, they are positives with a funny little wavy washer, serrated washer I think it's called, underneath. I say I've seen all sorts of things bodged in there again over the years. Trying to keep this in camera angle and do it is harder than you think. Hats off to people that do this all the time on YouTube, because it's harder than I thought. Not the headset, the filming, the video editing, the putting it all together, getting it in the right order, all that jazz. Right, then on the bottom, on the underside of the headset, you then have this little screw and little washer, which is for adjusting your beam angle for your MOT. Or if like me in the 80s, for your extended forks, you need to remove this and just push it all the way down for the when you go for an MOT. I know that the MOT tester's feeling nice because it's still pointed at the sky. Not that it mattered, because the headlamp was crap anyway on an old original PX. You couldn't see a thing. All dim glow candles. These halogen ones are better, but they're still not brilliant. So hopefully the LED conversion will be amazing. We'll wait and see. What's to be amazing for the cost of it? 200 quid for a headlamp is not. And can I get the parking lot bulb in with that bolt in? Yep. So right, headlamp assembled, starting to look like it should do. Right then, brake master cylinder. Again, this is a presentable one I've taken out of a box. Not what I'm using. I have the SIP one with the slightly angled lever to go with the SIP caliper, and I also have some nice BGM levers, black anodized, sort of dogleg 80s style levers, but black anodized aluminium rather than this rather naff carbon fibre print like we've got on this one. But again, for the purposes of demonstration, it's good enough. Now, if you have a drum brake version, you will basically have 2 little electrical terminals like that on a little plastic thing that goes between 2 cables. Don't know what you call it, a make brake switch. And all that happens is when you pull the brake lever, it squashes the outer cable together and makes your brake light come on. But the wiring is identical. There is no difference. You literally just have 2 terminals sitting in here, and a little plastic block that the wires go to. Whereas the wires in this case, if you get the right end, they go on here. It doesn't matter which way round they go, because it is literally just a make break. Or if there is a special way they should go on, I don't know what it is. I've never put them on any way round, I've just done them either way. Never had a problem. So that goes on there like so, and then you get your nice little rubber booty that goes over the top to make it all nice and neat. So it's me, and then that pushes into there. It works better with a bit of grease, but you see what I mean. Right. Now we get to cable routing. This is really where people cock these up. The front brake switch is the only one that goes down that side at this point. Now your brake hose will come from here over there and go down that side as well eventually. All of these four go down this side hole here. Now I've always gone with the biggest plugs first, so if we get the biggest plug through the hole first, in theory there should be room for the smaller plugs at the end. Oh, that'll teach me to put my phone on silent. That goes in front like that once everything is finally routed. Next smallest plug through. Oh, try and keep that in shot. Next, which is the one with just two wires, that goes through next. That marking that paint's really starting to annoy me now. And then this one with the smallest plug goes through last, and I reckon if we push that out of the way, that will pop through there. Right. So all of the wiring at this point goes down that side. Obviously once the forks are in, they need to be neatened up a bit. That needs to go down there, and I know what I will do, just to keep it held in place. If anybody knows why some PXs are fitted with a bolt and some PXs are fitted with an Allen key head, I'd be really grateful to know. I prefer the Allen key, I think it's easier. It can be an arse to get a socket in there. Let's just put that in there for now, just so that how do other YouTubers make it look so easy to do things whilst keeping them in camera shot? It's a bit of a pig, to be truthful, but there we have a basically assembled headset top, dry assembled. Once I come to fit this on the scooter, I will go through the running of the actual cables, the fitting of the SIP quick action throttle and gear pulleys, and I will probably do a separate video on the Moto Nostro LED headlamp, because I'm doing the DC conversion as well. I'm still umming and ahhing about whether to do a full DC conversion on the whole scooter, which I have drawn a wiring diagram up for, and involves a few relays and some messing about. But I've also got a SIP digital speedo to go in this, and I would really like to be able to, when you turn the ignition on, to get the needle sweep and for all the indicators and lights and everything to work without the engine being running. But to do that is a little bit complicated. you need to add some relays and stuff. But it's not stupidly complicated, and I've seen lots of different ways of doing DC conversions, and I don't think any of them are really exactly what I'm looking for. So we'll wait and see. Stay tuned. If you've liked this, please like and subscribe. If I can get a decent following for this, it will keep me motivated to do a load more of putting this back together. Cheers for your time, and catch you later. P.S. We forgot a bit. Well, we didn't forget it. I did. I put the bolt in to show the difference. The only other bit that goes in is the Speedo cable at this point. Again, biggest plug first. They go down, they go through this hole here to the left of the headset bolt. It's important you get these in the right place, else they get crunched. So that sits in there like that, and then plugs onto your Speedo. They will be zip tied up out there. So that is basically how it will all fit together once the headset's on, with the brake hose coming through here and down that side on a disc model. And if you've got a drum brake model, the brake cable comes through the holes in here and then obviously goes down the forks along with the Speedo cable. I think that's it. Let's see if I can now try and make this look professional in the edit. Unlikely. See ya.